How to keep deep depression at bay, and with the latest Supreme Court Justice Thomas and Alito on LGBTQ plus rights. I really wish I had an answer for that. I mean, broadly speaking, I am fortunate in that I've never been diagnosed with depression. I don't have it as a condition. I have down days, but I mean, everybody does. As far as how to find hope or light, knowing what some of the existing Supreme Court justices want to do, and knowing the positions that the likely new Supreme Court justice has taken in the past, I don't have a way to fend off depression on that. I don't, because anything that I say that is some form of it'll probably work out and be okay would be a lie. We are in big trouble. And not just for the immediate future, we are in big trouble for a generation. We are probably going to be in big trouble for the remainder of my lifetime. That's the unfortunate reality. That the things that a conservative supermajority in the Supreme Court is liable to do or take away are things that will not be undone for decades. At this point, the hope that I have is that in my daughter's lifetime, things will get better. I have limited hope. This is the worst case scenario that we are looking at right now. Because when the court has the makeup that it's going to have, that means that that conservatives in various positions of power, be it states attorneys generals, be it governors, be it senators, what have you, can orchestrate the challenges to the laws that they want undone. Which, let's also be clear, has already been happening. Key parts of the Voting Rights Act were tossed aside a few years ago. We lost net neutrality, which, strictly speaking, wasn't a court issue, but this is the way things have been headed for a while. With this likely makeup of the court in place, they will challenge Roe v. Wade. They will challenge gay marriage. They will try and put in place new restrictions and clampdowns on transgender rights to try and ensure that trans people do not get any more than what little they currently have. This is a video I might end up making for the Vera Wylde channel, but there's an issue of liberal complacency, which we are currently now reaping the consequences of. There is a feeling that I've seen at play for a long time among liberal people where they feel like, when you have phrases like being on the right side of history, part of the implication of us saying like that means this is the natural progression of time. I mean, it's right, and then it's progressive. We assume that this is the natural evolution of where things will go. And because a lot of liberals, especially white liberals, have a tendency to believe in basically just love will win, like it's some sort of natural result of the ebb and flow of the universe, they tend to think, well, if we just wait, we'll get there. Meanwhile, the conservatives aren't waiting, they're fighting. And they're fighting actively. And too many people on the left side of the aisle are sitting back going, well, they're just wrong. They're just on the wrong side of history. They're trying to fight back the tide. Yes, they are. But they're succeeding because you're not pushing back on what they're doing to fight that. I don't know if part of the problem is that the last major civil rights victory in the U.S., being that of gay marriage, was won with minimal, harsh political action. I say minimal, and I mean that in recent times, because Stonewall was a riot. Gay rights started as a riot. Never forget it. I don't care if this ticks people off to hear it. Sometimes you have to throw a brick, because they're going to deploy a hell of a lot worse than that to clamp us down and other people who have as much rights as we do, or they should, for crying out loud. So we had the gay right to marriage, and that was a huge win. I don't want to downplay that, but that was one that felt like it was one just because, well, it's going to happen, and it felt like it just did. And there isn't enough emphasis on how much fighting has had to happen for virtually every other major civil rights advancement that has ever happened. The civil rights movements of the 60s, people had to fight. People had to be willing to take billy clubs to the head. People died for that. And I was not taught that. I think back to how I learned about civil rights when I was in school. And it was presented to me as if things were unfair, people marched, things changed, which is so sanitized to the point that it's almost harmful that I thought that it was just a matter of people marching and drawing attention to it. And that's not what it took. And even before that, women's suffrage, people died for these rights. And the fact that a lot of people seem unprepared to fight back with anything close to the ferocity that the right is fighting to remove these rights from us infuriates me. The right has never stopped fighting because they have to. They know that they are fighting the tide. They know that they are fighting a progression. And because they know it's a fight, they treat it like a fight. Whereas a lot of liberals treat it like an inevitability, which can make us complacent. Which can put us in a place where we get hung up on our own personal morals of, I'm going to vote for Ralph Nader instead of Al Gore because I'm going to vote my conscience. Screw your conscience. I don't care about your conscience. I care about the end result. What is the end result of too many people voting third party for Ralph Nader instead of voting for Al Gore because they didn't like him as an individual. And look, let me be clear, I didn't really like Al Gore. I don't like Joe Biden. I honestly really don't. I have a ton of problems with that guy. I don't like the fact that he's my only other option. Am I going to vote for him? Hell yes! Because I care about the consequences a hell of a lot more than some obscure pie-in-the-sky idea of morality, of holding on to the ideals. We should have better. Yes, we should, but we don't. This is the situation we have. And you can either actively do something about it. I'm sorry if we can't make it perfect, but we can do something to at least stop it from getting worse. And anyone who is unwilling to do that because my personal morals, screw you. Because your personal morals are not a shield for anyone else who is going to be oppressed by what is going on. I don't care if you can sleep at night. I care about people's lives more than I care about your ability to sleep at night. So that became a thing. Oh.